friends. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, it is gross and gray and busy over here. That's kind of the week that you are finding me in. It is April now, which I was so excited about, and then literally on April 1st, we got 3 inches of snow. So yeah, I know I said last vlog that this vlog would be all about finally getting some pots outside and starting my garden, and I'm thinking that that is in fact going to be next vlog, because clearly winter is not quite done here yet, which is pretty on par for this region. I live pretty far north. I think I've heard people say there's been snow on the ground as late as May. It does seem like we're getting a bit of a warm snap next week. Like right now it's snowy and cold and rainy and gray, and it's just so gross. But next week it looks like it's gonna be like 60 and sunny, so I think then is when I will set my pots outside. And then if we do get another snow or freeze while my pots are out there, I'll just go out and cover them, because I feel like honestly my plants need to get a start because spring is so short here. I really need to get things going. So anyways, that has kind of been that's kind of the weather situation, and honestly I think that is contributing to my mental health situation. I am having just a really anxious, really off week. I feel like I'm kind of in a funk, and I think a large part of that is the weather. I think it's been so gray, like the sun hasn't been out, and so chilly, and my brain and my body are just so used to having green at this point in the year. Like I lived in Indiana for the last 4 years, and then before that I lived in Missouri, and by April it's green. There's flowers blooming, the trees have budded, it's green outside. Whereas here it is still entirely brown. There's no green whatsoever. None of the plants have budded or bloomed, and I think it's just getting to me. I mean, I'm a spring gal. Spring's my favorite time of year. I always look forward to it. I always really struggle with winter because of the weather, and I think this prolonged winter into April is really just kind of putting me down in the dumps and affecting my mental health. Not to mention I have some pretty stressful things going on this week relating to that project I keep talking about, which I'm sorry to keep bringing it up without giving you more details, but I do think, to be fair, in addition to the weather, that's also contributing to kind of my funky mental health this week. So I think really my mission for the rest of this vlog is just going to be to take it easy on myself and embrace gentle parenting myself. You know, I think what I need right now is to give myself grace and do my best. Of course, there are still things that need to get done, but not expect myself to be in tip-top shape, because I think realistically, given the fact that it is 35 degrees, cloudy, wet, and windy outside, and I have this project that's stressing me out, and it's April and there's literally not a flower in sight, I think it's too much to ask for me to be like peppy and in my best of mental health state. I don't think that's gonna happen, so I'm not even gonna try and make that happen. I think I'm just going to try and exist in a mellow state, kind of hibernate until I can get to next week when it seems like maybe the spring weather will be coming. I did put together some flowers yesterday precisely because of what I'm feeling. I feel like I need some green and some flowers in my life, even if that is just inside. And thankfully, the one thing keeping me sane is I do have my little seedlings that I started in that tin a few vlogs ago. Those are inside still, so I've been enjoying taking care of them, and that's giving me my little hit of spring. But yeah, it has just honestly been a rough week, and I think it's going to continue being a rough week, but we're gonna make the most of it and have a cozy few days. It's a mindset thing, so I'm determined to kind of adjust my mindset and make it a better few days ahead than the few days behind me. It's about noon today, it's Thursday, and I've just been sitting here working for the past couple hours, and now that I've gotten to a stopping point, I'm gonna change clothes because I'm still in my PJs, and then take Ada for a walk because she's very bored and we need to get outside and do some of that. And then the afternoon ahead, I just have a few random tasks I need to do, so I'm just gonna be puttering around, but I'm gonna try and get kind of random clips of my afternoon. Kind of the final touch in the bedroom for now is I finally got some curtains hung. We've just been using the Builder Grade blinds forever, but finally went to IKEA and got a curtain rod, and then I got these curtains. I don't know if you heard that, that was Ada groaning, but I got these curtains that I think are so beautiful. I'm obsessed with the pattern, and the color isn't coming across perfectly over my phone, but it's a really lovely, rich, like, I don't know, like it's almost like a burnt umber color, but I think it's really, really beautiful, and it actually adds a nice bit of contrast to the room because the room is obviously mostly white and beige tones. And yeah, I just love them so much. They're from Anthropology Home, and I will admit are a bit of a splurge, but honestly worth it. They're just so gorgeous. I think they have a nice sheerness to them too, like they're kind of middle ground, kind of sheer, but also give good coverage. Okay, I got some clothes in the mail. I thought I would do a little try on haul so you can see how they fit in case you're also interested in some summer clothes. So the first thing I got is this cotton top that I thought was really pretty. I like the gathered waist because it kind of, I don't know, adds some shape to the outfit. I did get a tall, like they offered it in a petite, normal, and tall. And I got a tall because the listing made it seem very cropped. And I'm really glad I did because this is the tall and I'm not tall. I'm normal height. And it like barely reaches my belly button. So I feel like the normal would have been like super cropped because these are high-waisted. And then these are the shorts that I got, and I'm bummed because I should have gotten the next size down. They're quite a bit too big on me, but they're so soft and comfortable. So I'm really hoping they still have the next smallest size in stock because I feel like these are just so comfortable. Normally jean shorts are just way too stiff for my liking. And then I did also get this exact same top in this umber color, but it looked a lot more brown, kind of tan online, and this is super red, so I think I will return it because I don't really like the color. And then I did get these shorts and dress that I'll show you next. These are the other shorts I got, and I just got my normal extra small, and they are so comfy. I feel like these are going to be the perfect thing for like lazy days this summer. I really like them, and they actually have a pretty decent inseam, which is nice. Sometimes I feel like shorts can be a bit too short, but I feel like these have a decent amount of coverage, which is really nice. Okay, the last thing I got is this kind of t-shirt sleeveless dress, and I actually really like it. First of all, the length is super nice on me. On the website, on the models, it's like very short. I think it's supposed to be a mini dress, but I am only 5'4", so most mini dresses are normal length on me, and most maxi dresses are like on the floor. So I feel like this kind of worked out to my advantage this time because it's actually a really nice length in my opinion. And what I really love about this one is how casual it is. I personally really struggle with like sundresses and stuff, like the really, I don't know, the really like frilly lacy ones, because like I said, on me, they usually are pretty long and I feel like they just look really formal on me personally. And then I feel kind of silly like wearing them to the grocery store. Once again, just a personal opinion. I don't judge people who do, but this for me, you know, growing up in the Midwest is a more like standard normal thing to wear at the grocery store, but still super breezy and cute and casual. And I love it. I feel like it would look so cute with like a baseball cap or something. So anyways, that's my little haul. I'll link everything where I, you know, usually leave my links if you're interested in anything. I think I might actually return those tops. I'm not sure how much I'll reach for them. I'm going to see if they have the smaller size in the shorts, but I'm definitely keeping this dress and the sweatpants shorts.
There is a life I lead in this city, hurrying to cup my tea.
Hello my friends, it is actually Monday. I'll explain more a little bit later in the vlog about like my updated plans for this vlog and what's going on, but for now I am actually about to start in on a little project here while I'm waiting for an email to come in, so I thought I would show you what I'm doing and take you along with me. So I got these beautiful antique plates on Facebook Marketplace a few months ago and I love them. There's 8 of them and I've always kind of envisioned doing a bit of a plate wall with them someday when we live somewhere new. We don't really have a wall big enough for that here, but I did realize that I have this empty wall space right here, and I've always kind of been confused about what to do with it, but I recently thought that I could at least hang a few of the plates, so I got some picture hanging hooks, and now I just need to choose 3 of these to go over there on the wall, and I feel like it'll make that corner look a lot more established and nice. Okay, looking at these, I think I'm going to do this one, and I'm stuck between these 2. We'll do, if we look at the shapes on here, this one has 1 bird, this one has 2 birds apart. This one has 1 bird, this one has 2 birds together. So maybe it would be better to have kind of 3 different bird formations going on. So I think I'm going to use these 3 plates, and obviously I'll be hanging on to these other 5 for a future space in which we can display them all together.
What I need to get by, it doesn't make it easy. The other piece of my heart moves slow, somewhere in the great unknown. When I return from the afterglow, will you carry me like I am whole again? Wait, hold on, put me together, take me back where I belong.
Hello, my friends. It is later this afternoon, and I actually just got back from a run. I went about 3.5 miles, and it felt so nice. It definitely was not my fastest pace by any means. Like, honestly, probably the slowest pace I could have run, but it felt really nice to just get outside. I took a couple weeks off running, like probably close to a month, somewhat unintentionally. I just felt like A, March was really busy. We did a lot of traveling, and B, the weather in March was pretty gross. And even though I had run in colder weather, like throughout the winter, I felt like I was just so tired of running in the cold. Like mentally, I was like, if I'm gonna run, I want to run in the warmth. So I just kind of didn't run for a while. And today is by no means warm, but it's at least sunny, and I don't know, something about it felt springy enough that I decided to get outside. And also, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I've been kind of struggling with some anxiety and funky mental health, and runs always help with that. They're kind of my biggest course corrector if I'm having an anxious day or a mental health funk day. Usually a run is what can just like hard reset my brain into having a good rest of the day. And I figured that out in November, which is when I started running consistently. And I was super anxious at the time, and I was just running several times a week just to kind of keep my anxiety at bay, and it really helped. And even though I'm not a professional runner and I wasn't going super far, I wasn't running super fast, I wasn't doing anything mind-blowing, it was just so groundbreaking for my mental health. So if you struggle with anxiety or like just funky mental health, I recommend trying either just going outside and walking, or you could try jogging if you feel up to it. Just some sort of movement outside, it just always is so helpful for me. Anyways, I just got back from that and finished stretching, and I'm about to film some content and then hop in the shower. But I did want to really quickly talk about something that's been really helping my skin lately, because if you've been here, you know I've been on kind of like a ongoing skin journey. So for the past couple weeks, I've been taking this supplement powder by Beam. It's their glow powder, and it's kind of intended as like a supplement that has a bunch of vitamins and nutrients to essentially help balance your hormones. And kind of through process of elimination and just figuring out my own skin, I figured out that a decent amount of my skin problems were actually hormonal. I think some of them were environmental and diet related, but I have resolved those things, and now all that's left is just kind of getting my own internal body situation corrected, mostly hormonally. And this supplement has made such a difference. I don't know if you can tell, but this is the most clear my skin has been, I don't even know, in months. I basically have no active acne. I have a few scars and dark spots from some really deep cystic acne that I had at the very worst of my acne. I was getting some pretty like deep cystic acne, and so it left behind some scarring that is just kind of there. But I have no active acne spots right now, which is amazing. I genuinely just can't remember the last time that happened. And I don't know if you can tell, but I also have a lot of like baby hair regrowth around my scalp. I feel like my hair is so much happier, and all of this has been
basically the past month or so because I've started taking this supplement. I am working with Beam over on Instagram. This video itself is not sponsored. I just honestly wanted to share it with you, but because I am working with them on Instagram, they did give me a discount code, which is so nice. So I thought I would share it here. You can use the code FAITH for up to 35% off, which is a killer deal if you ask me. And yeah, if you've been struggling with imbalanced hormones, whether it's lack of energy throughout the day or fluctuating energy throughout the day, it can be imbalanced hormones, it can be hair, it can be skin, it can be a lot of things. Your hormones like really affect how your body functions on the day-to-day. So if you're struggling with that, I really highly recommend giving this a try. And it comes in a few different flavors. This is the strawberry kiwi, which I like. And I've also tried the blue raspberry, which I think is pretty good. But they have a few other flavors too that I honestly want to try once I finish these. So anyways, that's kind of my little skin update for you. It's genuinely the best it has been in so long. I cannot believe it. So slowly but surely since the beginning of the year, if you were watching my videos, how kind of angry my skin looked, slowly but surely we're getting to a better place, getting it happier just in time for spring, which is probably not a coincidence. Honestly, part of it was probably seasonal as well. So anyways, I'm gonna go film and hop in the shower and I will check in with you later. Friends, we are sitting in this sunny corner in my dining room and I've been working all morning. I've been filming a few things, editing some projects. I'm actually going out of town tomorrow first thing in the morning, so it's just kind of one of those days where I'm trying to finish up a bunch of things. But I really wanted to sit down and have kind of a bookish catch-up chat with you because I actually have quite a bit to update you on since I last updated you. Namely, I read 2 books in the span of a weekend after I finished Addie LaRue, and I wanted to talk about them because I really enjoyed them. In my last vlog where I last left you, I had just finished The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, loved it, amazing book, and I decided that I wanted something a bit lighter and a bit quicker next. And as luck would have it, my Libby app had just recently told me that 2 holds I'd been waiting on came through to my Kindle, and both of them were actually Ali Hazelwood novels. One of them was Not in Love, which is I think one of Ali Hazelwood's more original novels. It's not super recent. And then Deep End, which is her most recent novel. It came out in January. And they both hit my Kindle at the same time, and I was honestly really excited. And kind of unintentionally, unexpectedly, I ended up getting through both of them in one weekend. I basically read one a day. They were super enjoyable and super easy to just like eat like candy, you know what I mean? And I feel like a book like that every now and then is just good for the soul because I love books that are deeper and you need to digest. And I mean, I've talked about that before. I really like things that comment on human existence, etc. But honestly, that can get exhausting. And I find that if I try and read too many of those, I put myself into a bit of a slump. So I found it's nice to kind of intersperse those type of novels, which with lighter, more fun novels, and Ali Hazelwood is exactly that. Starting with Not in Love, because that's the one I read first, I really enjoyed it. I knew absolutely nothing about it going in. I knew a little bit about Deep End because that was a recent release. I heard people talking about it, so I knew the general premise. I knew nothing about Not in Love. I just heard that a lot of people consider it one of Hazelwood's best novels, so that's why I added it to my hold list at the library. And basically the premise is that there's a young scientist who works at this, I think it's like, it's maybe not a pharmaceutical company, but like a scientific research company, who she's very close with the founder. She's really like loves her job, and this outside investor group basically buys up the CEO of this scientific company's loan and comes in and kind of does like a bit of a hostile takeover. I mean, it wasn't that hostile, but their intent was to take over this scientific company and their ongoing patents. And this scientist and one of the members of the investment company doing the takeover have like crazy chemistry and really love each other, but obviously have that conflict of, you know, their situations in life are directly conflicting, and they also both kind of have baggage around relationships. And so you just kind of get this story built on these two people really working through their own personal baggage while in the midst of a pretty decent battle professionally. And I thought it was a really interesting premise, honestly, and despite knowing very little about that world, I don't know much about scientific research. I took 2 semesters of bio when I was a freshman in college, but that's about it. And so I really appreciated how Hazelwood wrote it in a way that was approachable for someone who knew nothing about that topic, and she really gave you a lot of background and made you feel like you understood the story and the story felt developed, and yet it wasn't super slow and you weren't getting tons of backstory that felt boring. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's definitely a quick read and not the most profound read. I don't think that's what Hazelwood's trying to write, and that's completely fine. I do like that about Ali Hazelwood in general. Same with Deep End. It's this topic I don't know much about, swim and dive. It's set on the Stanford swim and dive team. And I actually did do swimming. I was on the swim and dive team at my high school for 2 years, but that was a long time ago and certainly wasn't, you know, collegiate level by any means. So I don't know much about it. And same with Deep End. She gave you a decent amount of background and made you feel like you understood what the topic and premise was about without making it super slow and super bogged down and still keeping the actual plot moving. And now that I've read 3 of Ali Hazelwood's books, I feel like that is her biggest strength, is she's just really great at balancing giving background and information while still keeping the plot moving along, and I really appreciate that. But yeah, I loved Not in Love, and I also really enjoyed Deep End. I thought Deep End was, I preferred Not in Love to Deep End. Not in Love felt like a bit more developed. I felt a bit more attached to the characters, whereas Deep End felt like maybe a bit more shallow. And I will say it's possible that it's just because I read the 2 back to back. Maybe if I had read them separately, I wouldn't have felt that way about Deep End. I'm not quite sure, but Deep End just felt slightly less like emotional to me, whereas Not in Love actually had some really beautiful moments of vulnerability and these 2 people working through some past baggage to really come together and form something beautiful. So that was just kind of how I felt about the 2, but honestly both really enjoyable, and I blew through them so quickly. I was literally like sitting on the sofa just tapping away on my Kindle, so they were super good. And honestly, I look forward to reading more Ali Hazelwood. She has not disappointed me so far, 3 books in, so good for her. And after that, I decided, you know, I read some fiction with some heavier fiction with The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I read some lighter fluff with some Hazelwood, and so I decided it was time to hop into some nonfiction because I love to intersperse that every now and then. And I decided to read Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. This is John Green's most recent release. I think it just launched a couple weeks ago. I obviously, along with most young women at the time, read all of John Green's books growing up. I loved them. You know, he is a classic. And him and his brother Hank have the YouTube channel Crash Course that I swear got me through school, right? Because they covered all my courses, psychology, biology, chemistry, physics, like everything I needed in all my STEM classes. The Green brothers were there to cover in Crash Course. So all in all, I always feel very nostalgic about the Green brothers, and whenever they publish something, I feel like I just automatically read it. And so when John Green released this book, I was like, heck yeah, I'm gonna read it. And it was perfect timing because I was craving some nonfiction. I did read John Green's The Anthropocene Reviewed back when it came out, so I think about 2 years ago, and I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really beautiful insight on life, and he wrote it kind of at the beginning of the COVID pandemic, and he definitely puts that into the prose. And yeah, it was just really beautifully written. One of those books that feels like sitting down and getting like a cup of coffee with an old friend and just talking about life. That's kind of how that book felt like. So I was really excited to pick up another one of his nonfiction books. And excitingly, when I went to the store to pick this up, they had signed copies, so that's kind of cool. I have a book signed by John Green. I am not very far into it. I'm only about 40 pages into it, so I can't update you on it too much, but I am very excited to read it. I don't know if I've ever shared this before, but way back in high school before the pandemic, I really wanted to be an epidemiologist. That was like my career goal. That was what I was working toward. That's why I initially applied to and attended Vanderbilt University with the theory of majoring in biology and moving on to graduate school. That was kind of the path I was on. And then the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and it really changed my perspective on all things epidemiology and disease related, because the pandemic revealed how politicized and bureaucratic treating illness and disease can be, and that was something I was not interested in. I decided that if going into epidemiology meant fighting the politics and the bureaucracy that I saw during the COVID-19 pandemic, that wasn't really the career for me. So that's when my trajectory changed. I transferred, I switched to a business degree. I obviously was doing social media, and that was just kind of one of those times in life where my paths grew apart. But way back when, I used to be on that path, and so I actually know kind of a decent amount about, you know, disease and all that stuff, because it was something I was very interested in and researched and learned about for years. So I'm actually very interested to dive into this book because it talks about tuberculosis, which is one of the most prolific diseases in human history, and also, interestingly, how it's become almost kind of political and how it's a very curable disease, but for political and bureaucratic reasons, we as a human race haven't cured it yet. So I think it will be an interesting read because I think it will really hit home on some of those epiphanies I had way back when I decided not to pursue epidemiology. So anyways, that is my current read, and after that, I honestly don't know what's next, but I will update you when I get there, obviously. So that's my little bookish chat. I feel like I've been talking forever. I'm sorry, I just get very excited about books, as I'm sure you can tell. And yeah, I'm gonna hop into the rest of the day, and I will check in with you later. Friends, it is quite late. Ada and I have put ourselves to bed, and I just wanted to hop on here and close out the vlog because I have to be on a plane very early in the morning. So I'm gonna get this edited for you guys and up so that it is up and ready for you Sunday morning. I apologize that I had to I basically had to combine 2 weeks vlogs into one, and therefore I skipped a Sunday upload. So I apologize for anyone who was disappointed. It just was kind of how it ended up going because I had a cold and I'm traveling later this week and blah blah blah. So I appreciate your patience, and I am, as always, ever so grateful that you're here. I have been getting so many incredibly kind, sweet messages on my channel lately, and I am just so grateful. They really make me smile, and I do my best to respond to them. Even if some days it's a few days later, I apologize, but they are just truly the sweetest thing, and I'm so grateful for this community on here, and I really do love filming vlogs and spending the week with you, so thank you for being here. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed the vlog. I hope it was worth the wait, maybe. And I will see you in next week's video. We should be back to a normal posting schedule after this. So anyways, I will see you soon. Thank you for being here, and good night.